So me and Tani are back up at Gisburn, and I thought I'd give everybody a bit of an update onto the off-piste trails. So to be clear, I'm not responsible for all the trails in this forest. I have built Songs of Praise and Yorkie. I was responsible for Tani's Testament, which is that went last year in one of the felling processes. That was probably the hardest trail in the forest, and it was kind of a bit of a Marmite trail. Yorkie I built after Jans was put in. Yorkie helped me get through, I suppose, a tough time in my life, let's say. Relationship breakdown, something to focus on. And Songs of Praise was kind of built, I suppose, a bit of a winter project. The other trails that are here, Stickman, Chunk Norris, Jansberger, Meth Lab, the Enduro trails, Uncle Bulgaria, the actual Enduro trail as well, as a piece of off-piste on that, none of which I'm responsible for. But what I have been trying to do, and I have been working with the Forestry in regards to trying to keep these trails rideable. Gisburn Forest has a zero tolerance to what they call wild trails, and there's been a few lessons learned in regards to the building process, what's actually acceptable, and the reasons as to why. So for the past few months I've been working with the Forestry, been a bit quiet on the riding side of things. Still been riding. I was up at Winlatter yesterday, just did a bit of trail centre stuff. I've been up a few mountains as well and whatnot, but been kind of keeping myself to myself and under the radar a little bit perhaps. But back to the trails. Jansberger and Yorkie are two trails that did come out onto the most used fire road, the busiest fire road, and both of them had exits where you kind of went straight across the fire road. They weren't appropriate exits. That bit of fire road itself it's a footpath, it's a driveway to the house. The Forestry have tenants in the house near the bottom of the hope line. It's the blue route, it's a red route, and obviously it's a bridle way as well. So the traffic on that bit of fire road is more than anywhere else in the forest, and the exits we've had to basically move the exits, make them a lot better for going onto the fire road. The exit to Yorkie I've actually moved onto the fire road above the start of Swoopy, which obviously is then clear of that fire road itself, and it's a slower exit, which is a lot better. Obviously Jansberger is a bit more awkward, and all we could kind of do with that was move the exit to try and slow the exit down, but also put it in a way that you actually exit the direction of traffic, which is from the hope line to Swoopy is the direction of traffic, as opposed to just going straight across the fire road. So that was one of the Forestry's sort of main concerns. The trail called Songs of Praise, that's actually gone now. So I spent a lot of time obviously building that, and I tried to do everything in a way that made the trail work, I guess, where it crossed the red trail and the fire roads. If anybody saw Kev's video, it highlighted a couple of things we could have done to that trail. A lot of people love that trail. Personally, I wasn't actually too bothered. I'd kind of made it so that anybody could have ridden it, but there was far too many things that were technically wrong with that in regards to, say, wooden features or the crossings as such, deemed as certainly very unsatisfactory in regards to the needs of what the Forestry were after. So that has basically been, that's gone. There's trees dropped down it and such, so I'm sure that the regulars around here will already know that. That was done a couple of weeks ago. We're starting to see a bit of a battering because obviously of the weather. There's going to be quite a bit of work done on those over the winter, so hopefully next year, when the weather comes good, there'll be a lot of work already done on those trails, and by summer they will actually be a lot more weatherproof. You've got to remember, some of them, like Chunk Norris, which has probably got the most potential in the forest by a long way. If you've not seen my video, check that out. There's a lot of work being done to it since, by Nigel, big up Nigel, and there is a lot of work still to be done on it, but like I said, come good in summer, that'll be a mega trail. That's got the most potential out of all the trails in the forest. There's still, like I say, quite a few things that need to be sorted on it, but a lot of those things, they don't become apparent until the trails are ridden, and certainly when you get the adverse weather conditions, everything starts to become a little bit more obvious. Update wise, the only trail so far that has gone is Songs of Praise, and we're going to be doing, like I say, a bit of work on the rest of them. So this is another part of what I have committed to in regards to the off-piste trails and what is going on. It is the Leap of Faith area. So everybody's obviously heard of Leap of Faith. I used to hit this way back in the day. It's been here forever and a day next to the downhill trails. Over the years it's taken many different forms, but it's due to have a revamp, and one thing I've committed to is creating an advanced skills area, and it's going to be redesigned in a way that we aren't going to be hitting a fire road at flat out speed. We are going to be, if you can hear me for this, we are going to be moving the Leap of Faith from where it is there. We are going to be putting it in line with this as an exit point, which is where some of the trails come down. This is obviously quite a wet area. We're basically going to move, effectively the Leap of Faith is going to be ripped apart, the stone is going to be moved. We are going to build in this area a set of, we're going to put a small table in and a bigger table, and then we're going to do an even bigger gap jump. So the idea is we're going to aim for progression. We're going to build a skills loop with different size jumps, with some nice berms, a couple of rollers maybe. I'll put a rough diagram in the video of what we're proposing, and I'm hoping that it won't be on a day where we're in a storm. So you're going to come out of the forest, down here there's going to be the triple set of jumps here, so small, medium, large, come into a berm, then there'll be probably a roller or some kind of feature there, possibly a jump, I'm not sure, and then we'll go into another berm. It'll take you then parallel to the fire road, maybe another roller as such, and then you'll be exiting the skills area higher up than the two trails which are opposite. Now along the edge of the fire road, along here, we're going to put a fence in that stops obviously people from cutting straight across. I'm planning on another berm here, so if anybody's familiar with the steep chute that is hiding up there, there's a steep chute. I want to extend the start of it so you get a bit of composure time. Steep chute down, there's a nice table in there, come into here, again a really nice curve berm to come back up to the fire road start here. To get up to the chute there's going to be a bit of a push up to the side, and then these trails here will add a berm in here for the enduro line, so you'll hit the berm, go onto the drop, enduro line going down there is going to have an option on the enduro line with a couple more drops in there. The downhill start here, questionable as to whether we leave the drop. My personal opinion is that we mix things up quite a bit, and I'm going to put a nice berm in here, quite a steep berm, into another berm, and then have a gap jump. So some sort of qualifying feature at the start, either a gap or a drop or something. But that is the proposed plan roughly at the moment. So by the time you see this video, I'm hoping we'll have the thumbs up off the hierarchy and we can actually get some tools into the ground and get grafting. So the time scale with it all, to do all this, is to basically have it all done by March. So watch this space when it comes to social media and helping out volunteers, because we are going to need probably quite a bit of manual labour involved, because it's all going to be stonework and moving gravel, etc, etc. So fingers crossed it all goes to plan, and what I've kind of drawn up and designed is going to be acceptable. So booyah! So I'm not just up here talking, waffling on about obviously the off-piste trails and what we kind of intend to do with the orange downhill leap of faith area. Doing a bit of maintenance, so the off-piste trails obviously are seeing quite a lot of intense riding, and obviously with the weather and everything, it's getting a fair toll on some of the sections. But one of the sections here is the Stonewall area, which is on Yorkie, where I've just pitched in the entrance. I've created a lot more stable drop. I've made the crossing a little bit more obvious so people aren't actually riding into the edge, which some people have been doing, so hopefully a bit more guidance will help. But interestingly, you can see the water flow with the amount of water that we've actually got at the minute. The water itself is quite happily flowing through this boggy area, so that's a big thumbs up for the building of that. I'm happy with that. And this long section here, I've just basically solidified some of these bits, just made it a lot easier and smoother to actually ride. A bit more guidance as well, because some of the stonework had started to get scattered about, and this again is just a nice easy little section. So the work on all these off-piste trails will carry on through the winter. People will just keep chipping away, but naturally it's an off-piste trail, so it's going to see quite a bit of change, I would expect, through the winter, because of the water and the traffic that's going down them. So again, just naturally you're going to expect the bog here and there, but I'm going to try and do my best to keep on top of some of the sections that are getting worse and obviously a little bit in more disrepair than others. So we'll see how things go and progress through the winter. This is the bottom of Yorkie, and I've changed this a couple of times, and I've got a few other people as well keeping an eye on it. The old ending goes down there. This is the new ending, and it basically comes out just above Swoopy. It's a faster, smoother, less technical ending, so it will have reduced the times on Strava. So what I've done with the ending is what obviously the forestry were after. It's meant that we can keep the trail. I've still got various other things to actually sort on it, but like I said, bit by bit we'll get there. Rome wasn't built in a day, and the ending here is actually, it's good to see now, I've actually come up when it's been really bad weather and we've had a lot of rain. So this is actually the ending. So the waterway itself is actually really blocked and clogged up, and obviously with the amount of water, that's pretty bad. But it's going to take quite a bit of work to pop a pipe in there, but once there's a pipe in, the ending will be so much better. That's quite deep. This itself is waterlogged, but again, it's not looking pretty bad considering the amount of water that we've just had. I mean, I don't know what the storm was called, but we've had a lot of water overnight, and that's pretty good to see, because the drainage itself with a pipe in there will be probably quite sufficient, and it'll be improving the water course as well at the same time. So thumbs up there. But that pretty much wraps it up, I think, for this one. So that's the update. Yeah, roll on 2025. Let's make Gisburn great again.